The Knicks postgame show is presented by Tri-State Audi. Visit your Tri-State area Audi dealer today. All Knicks in Atlanta this afternoon. OG Anunoby, his 9th straight game with at least 20. He went for 24. Karl Anthony Towns, 30 and 11. 19th game this year with at least 30 and 10. That's the third most in Knicks history. And the Knicks win with ease this afternoon, 121 to 105. Standings now in the Eastern Conference. What's it all mean? It means if the Knicks win at home tomorrow night against Phoenix and the Pacers tomorrow night lose to Denver, the Knicks will clinch the third spot in the East. Their magic number is down to 2. Great to have you with us from our Delta Embassy studios. Bill Pidto along with Alan Hahn. Here is how dominant the Knicks were this afternoon. Alan, the Knicks didn't score a single field goal in the 7:50 of the game. In the final 7:50 of the game, not a single field goal, and they still won by 16 points.
Yeah, there was one point in the game where the PA announcer in Atlanta was yelling, defense! And it was like, bless his heart, because the Hawks were saying, no, we're not going to play defense. I told you the stat to watch was the fact that Atlanta came into this game giving up over 120 points in 5 straight games. Make it 6 now. And the Knicks had 120 points with 7:54 to go in the fourth quarter and only scored one more point the rest of the game as they were, just trying to get through this game knowing that this is the first game of a back-to-back. Absolute dominant performance for them offensively. And, man, that second quarter for them must have felt good because their offense without Jalen Brunson has sputtered a little bit, but it did not in that second quarter.
Knicks in that second quarter, Allen, outscored Atlanta 40-22. They go on a 21-3 run, and in that second quarter went 7 of 9 from downtown.
Yeah, they just got scorching hot. And you heard Karl Anthony Towns tell the guys in his walk-off interview that, we're trying to overpass sometimes, and that could be a problem. Instead of passing up good shots, we're taking them. But the ball movement was good. Now, full disclosure, the Hawks' defense was awful, like pathetic, bad. They have no rim protection, and the Knicks were smart enough to recognize that. But the 3-ball, like you mentioned, Bill, was something that in the post-All-Star break, they have not shot the 3 well. But in this game, they got into a rhythm. Karl Anthony Towns hit a logo 3 at one point in that first half and in that second quarter. But the ball movement was good. Landry Shamet still continuing his rhythm. And, boy, the Knicks really just were rolling offensively in that second quarter. Their highest first half of the season at 78 points and never looked back.
Look at the numbers. Another game in which they've recorded 30 assists. What are they, 24
and 3
24 and 3. Last year they had only 10 total games.
Yeah, now 27.
With 30 assists. Now they have 27. The ball movement's been a staple of their play all year. There are your numbers. Knicks scored only 13 fourth-quarter points and still ended up with 121. Yeah. Another big game for OG Anunoby on the offensive end. I mentioned his 9th straight game with at least 20. He went for 24.
And, again, we'll go since the All-Star break, because a lot of people want to look at the 9 straight games. So you look at that bracket, and he's shooting 50, 40, 90 in those 9 games. But I'm telling you, this is not just something that occurred because Jalen Brunson is out of the lineup and he's getting more shots and more looks. If you are watching since his foot injury, when he came back from that, post-All-Star break numbers for him are phenomenal. He is averaging over 21 points a game in 22 games since the All-Star break. So this is not just a reflection of not having Brunson in the lineup. This is a reflection of OG Anunoby saying that I'm going to get aggressive, that I want to find my shot, that he developed a move to the basket using his power and his strength, the low dribble before he gathers to the rim, and he turned that into something that is a weapon. The three-point shot is something that he's been very good at throughout his career, but it's just his mindset completely different. And so he has been his numbers since the All-Star break, and we're talking 22 games is more than a quarter of a season. That's All-Star level performance. And I'm forgetting to mention that in this game, he also had 3 blocks and a steal. His defense is also still elite.
Now, is his offensive aggression a function of Brunson not being in the lineup?
No, I just said that. He was doing this before Brunson's injury. His numbers are post All-Star break.
But he wasn't getting to the foul line with the consistency.
That's the difference.
And isn't that a function of being more aggressive?
Yes, which is exactly what he said. It's that move that he had developed where he does a drive, and there were a lot of times earlier in the season he would drive the ball, and then if he did not know where to go or didn't have a plan, he'd kind of run out of room if he could not get to the rim. But now when a defense closes off on him, he's bringing the ball low. And then he's exploding up like in not a Euro step, but more just a crossover. And when the hands reach in on him, he's drawing fouls. This is something you got to credit him and the coaching staff for spending time this season to find for him a go-to move that he can have to utilize his strength and exploit defense when they try to reach in on him.
All right, as for Cat, I mentioned another 30-10 game, 19 now on the year, third most in the history of the Knicks. You look at the way he's put these numbers together, and this has been a tremendous first year for him.
An all-NBA season. It'll be his third this year that he'll be all-NBA. There's no question that he'll be a second-team or third-team all-NBA selection. And for Karl Anthony Towns, like, if you don't have a strong big man, you have no chance. You know, they don't have Clint Capella playing. That was a logo 3, by the way. They don't have Clint Capella. You know, Okonwu is about 6'8", 6'9".
Ricochet's not slowing him
Ricochet
down.
is, 115 pounds. They don't have enough for a guy like him. And when he gets into rhythm offensively, he loves to pass the basketball. But this is the kind of stuff that happens where he just overpowers you. He knocked down only a couple of threes, but a lot of his damage was done right around where we're showing you in the paint. Little slips, little cuts, little finishes, a bunch of and-ones. He got to the free throw line 9 times, 8 of 9 from the free throw line. This is just Karl Anthony Towns just being a dominant player and recognizing that the opponent has nothing for you on this night. He can't guard me, and he had that kind of mentality, and he made sure to attack, and the Knicks made sure to keep feeding the big man.
Very good possibility that Jalen Brunson returns tomorrow at home against Phoenix. If that's the case, the Knicks would go 9-6 without their captain. If I told you in early March that they go 9-6 without Jalen Brunson, I think you'd say, where do I sign up for that?
Yeah, and if you look at some of the games, they could have won 10. They could have won 11. There are a couple of games that they do feel like that they gave away that they could have won. But still, to survive this time without Jalen Brunson, who is an all-NBA player, he's an all-star, a superstar, your leader. To be able to survive these games with a winning record says a lot about how much they have on this roster. And now they've got a week, if they can get him back in the lineup tomorrow, to reacclimate him to the offense and figure out some things now that Mikal Bridges, another 20-point performance, very efficient. So those guys, the two wing players, have really emerged, and it's now for Jalen Brunson to figure out not how am I just going to play my game, but how can I fit my game now and let these guys still continue to cook.
I also need to mention Josh Hart, 1 rebound shy of his 10th triple-double of the season. Tom Thibodeau now 4th all-time in wins in Knicks history. The win today allows him to pass Pat Riley. We'll hear from the Knicks coach when we come back after this.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit your Tri-State Audi dealer today.
Five games left, beginning with tomorrow night's home game against Phoenix. A little bit earlier than normal, 6:30 pregame game at 7. Knicks beat the Hawks this afternoon, 121-105. Tom Thibodeau's postgame comments, as always, presented by Chase.
Yeah, just all around solid on both ends. I thought the defense got us going, and then we got into the open floor. We got some easy baskets, and guys did a great job of making the extra pass, and we had good rhythm shots off of that.
What did you think about the defensive effort that you guys put forth in terms of just the start? I don't think any starter scored more than 16 points. Just what did you see in terms of?
Yeah, just tied together, and I thought a good aggressiveness on the ball, and then good help, and then great effort, a second and third effort. And that, when you're defending, Trae Young, it requires you to do more than one thing, and you got to fly around. And I thought we did that. And then I thought the rebounding was good. And then you're concerned about them because they're so disruptive defensively.
And kind of with that, it seemed like you guys wanted to force everybody else except Trae to beat you guys. I think Niang led the team in shots at one point. Is that kind of what you're referencing to, and having to be tied together and making sure that?
Yeah, and we were concerned about LeVert and Niang off the bench. If you don't pay attention, they could do a lot of damage. So and that team is an outstanding offensive team, and so if you let your guard down at all, they can get 10 in a minute real easy.
And then offensively, I think every point in the first half you guys scored was either in the paint, a free throw, or a three. I guess, did you just like the quality you guys were getting?
Yeah, I thought the transition was huge for us, and then I thought the playmaking, but not only the playmaking, the cutting. And oftentimes the guy who was making the cut, it created movement for us, and also created openings on the weak side, and those were the rhythm shots that we wanted.
When a guy like Josh Hart is only a rebound away from a triple-double,
Well, yeah, it does. And he had a terrific game, and obviously, but for me, that's a no-win situation because if I leave him in, he's going to be upset about that. If I take him out, he's going to be upset about that. So I said, what the hell? I'll take him out.
With the way OG is playing right now, obviously, the scoring numbers have been awesome for him the last however many games. Once Jalen is back, whether it's tomorrow or another day, obviously his style is going to have to change somewhat. Is there anything that he's done during this time with Jalen out that you feel like?
No, and the notion of all that stuff is just it's white noise. The game tells you what to do, So, whose shot is it in transition? The open man, right? So, and if there's two on somebody, whose shot is it? Right, you have the responsibility as a primary scorer to make the right play. So, the notion that it has to be this way, that way, no, there has to be a willingness to sacrifice by everybody. The team has to come first. What's best for our team? What gives the team the best chance to win? And that's all everyone should be thinking about. They shouldn't be thinking about who's doing this, who's doing that. That's not the way this game works. If you care about winning, that stuff shouldn't matter.
I guess I mean less about who ends up getting the shot and more about, for example, he's spending less time in the corners now.
He never spent exclusively that notion's a bunch of garbage. And I'll tell you another thing. I value the corners a lot more than most people because I know that's the most valuable spot on the floor. And so he's all over the floor, and that's the way he's scoring. That's the way everybody's scoring. So if you have a drive pass, who's supposed to be in the corner? Right, it's driving kick, and if you're cutting and you're moving without the ball, which is what you're supposed to do, right? If you push the ball up, your first responsibility is to create pace. Your second responsibility is to create movement, and everyone's supposed to read the man in front of them. So if you're reading the man in front of you and he cuts, then you replace in front, right? So that's the way this game works. So that's a bunch of excuse making, and that's the way I see it.
Tom, you officially passed Pat Riley for fourth place on the franchise wins leaderboard. I know you touched on it not too long ago, but is there any significance to that number?
No, and I think all the individual stuff, it's a byproduct of a team working together. So I've had a great team, and I've got great players. It's a great organization. So you share in all that stuff, as a group. As far as Pat Riley, he's unbelievable, probably the best to ever do it. And, I was fortunate to be with Jeff, and Jeff I put up there with anybody. And so, and those guys had great impact on my coaching philosophy. So, and of course, Red Holtzman and all the guys that, have been here. It's an honor to be the coach here.
Do you coaching for you, see yourself as a part of Pat Riley's coaching for you?
Yeah, I'm a mutt. I've been I've been around a lot of people that have had great influence on me. And not only, and obviously, the head coaches, but a lot of assistant coaches have had great impact on me as well. Like guys like Ron Adams or Brendan Malone. Those guys were phenomenal. I worked with Steve Clifford and Andy Greer, all those Jeff Knicks and Don Chaney. Everyone impacts you, and it's not just them. It's the people they work for. Brendan Malone worked for Hubie Brown and Chuck Daly, and Jeff had worked for, Pat Riley, Don Nelson, John McLeod, Rick Pitino, right? So you're stealing from everybody. So I think I felt I was very fortunate. Bill Musselman had great impact, Jerry Tarkanian, and I've been around some of the all-time greats in the history of the game, and that's good fortune for me.
I think also, thank you so much. Just want to speak to or ask you about the efficiency you guys have on offense. I mean, as you guys are rounding the form, heading into the playoffs, you guys were unbelievably efficient tonight. What went into that, and how important will that be going forward as Jalen comes back?
Well, I think it's huge. I think, and to succeed in this league, you have to do it together. No one could do it. You can't win at the highest level in this league individually. You have to do it collectively. So everyone has to be a willingness to sacrifice. I think offense is about execution, right? So everyone has a job to do. You have to go out there and do your job, and you have to help each other. And then the game, are they blitzing somebody? Are they double teaming the post? Are they coming from the baseline on Cat? and how can we take advantage of that, and how can we create advantages from that? And everyone works together and hits the open man, pass up a good shot to get a great shot, but that willingness to be unselfish and play for each other is huge. Thanks, Coach. Yep, thank you. Yeah.
All right, so the issue with Anunoby's production with and without Brunson is not something that the coach thinks is important, because what matters is winning the game.
Not that he doesn't think it's important. He doesn't want to hear it. That's what it's about. I mean, OG Anunoby has about 4 shots more per game post-All-Star break than pre. So he's being more aggressive. He's looking for his shot. But what Tom Thibodeau's trying to say there is he doesn't want to hear about who's getting shots and who's not, when it really should be about who's open and who's not. If you're open, you get the shot. That's how it's supposed to work. You hear this all the time from coaches. So I think why you heard him raise his voice a little bit there is that this isn't the time of year to start talking about who's getting shots and who's not. It's about the collective efficiency of the offense and making sure that all of your shots are quality shots, not forced because I got to get mine.
All right, so we'll see how things work out when Jalen Brunson comes back. And again, that very well could be tomorrow at home against Phoenix. Knicks host the Suns tomorrow night. We're on the air. Pregame 6:30, game at 7. Knicks beat the Hawks today. Trae Young scored only 16. Averages 27 against the Knicks this year. Here's Josh Hart on how they defended Trae Young.
Obviously, he's a hell of a player. And we just try to make it difficult for him, get him off the ball, and have other guys do the playmaking and getting shots up. So Cat did a good job in the blitz. Kel always, he's been doing a great job on him all year. So yeah, that was the kind of game plan, and we executed it.
Tibbs passed Pat Riley for most wins. Well, not most wins, but for 4th most wins in franchise history. Just what do you think, or what do you make of that?
Yeah, it's dope, man. It tributes to obviously the talent that he has in terms of coaching and success. Also shows the stability that the franchise has with him and needs with him. So that's a great accomplishment for him, and hopefully we can keep going up.
What do you think he brings that makes him, I guess, different from coaches that have been there in the past, or coaches that you've played for in the past?
I don't know. His preparation is top tier. Sometimes we would like him to get out the office and enjoy life a little bit. He has an amazing house, so sometimes we want him to at least go home and enjoy his house. But just the preparation, his dedication to excellence and to the process. He's not just he doesn't believe winning starts at 7 or 7:30 when the game starts. He believes winning starts in the summer. So that's what he brings.
All right, back now from the corner of the 3, presented by Michelob Ultra Superior Light Beer. Again, Tom Thibodeau now 4th all-time in Knick coaching wins. Today's win passes him over Pat Riley. And again, the hallmark is the way these guys are prepared to play.
And they were prepared for this game. First of all, he's going to be 3rd next season because he's not far behind Jeff Van Gundy, who's 3rd. So this is how. So that only 2 people above him are Red Holzman and Joe Lapchick. But what Josh Hart was talking about being prepared, the Knicks had 2 days off, and they prepared for this game, and they did a great job against Trae Young, as Hart was talking about. And Hart, as you can see with this team also, all the little things that he does on display as usual with his near triple-double. Once again, his ability to rebound, we know. You see him knock down shots, which is going to be very important for him come playoff time. These type of shots, he's going to get a lot of them. And so he's got to get himself comfortable. These are the ones you don't expect nearly as much, but that's when you know he's feeling good, when he takes a stop and pop kind of a shot. But he does everything, and that also includes playmaking. It's why he almost got to his 10th triple-double of the season. But I really love what he said, though, about Tom Thibodeau and the preparation, and that it doesn't start at 7:30. It doesn't even start that day. It starts in the summer. It starts with your daily habits, and that's something Tom Thibodeau brought to this organization.
And Hart, very efficient for his points. 5 of 8 overall and 2 of 2 from downtown. OG Anunoby, another 20-point game. He had 24. His post-game comments when we come back after this. Knicks are home to take on the Suns tomorrow night. Second of a back-to-back. 6:30 pregame, game at 7. OG Anunoby, 9th straight game with at least 20. Goes for 24. Here he is now in the postgame locker room.
We were super aggressive, Cat was out there aggressive, causing the dude to pick up his dribble. Trey was picking up his dribble. We're forcing turnovers, just being active in passing lanes.
I think every one of your guys' points in the first half were in the paint, free throws for threes. Is that kind of just a testament, one, to defense turning into offense, and two, just ball movement?
Yeah, for sure. Ball movement, getting good shots, making the extra pass, and just like turning on a good shot to get a better shot.
When you have a back-to-back, what do you do the night before, the night after a game, and then the morning? Like, how does your recovery change? What do you do?
Try to recover the best you can. Try to sleep the best you can. And same thing in the morning, and then just see how it goes.
It seemed, OG, like everyone who shot three tonight was knocking it in. I mean, do you believe in those things being contagious and infectious?
Yeah, and we have a lot of great shooters. You know, Landry, really shoot. DeLon can shoot. Cam can shoot. Everyone, Cat, Mikhail, Josh. So we have a great team of shooters. So everyone should have confidence, and it's contagious.
Were you expecting to come back into the game and you guys were up 24 with less than, I think, 4 minutes left or whatever that was? Like,
no, I knew I might come back in. I always want to play, so we'll see. Yeah.
Another great game for Anunoby. The bar is open for another couple of minutes, and then we'll be back with more right after this.
You gonna give me a drink?
Enjoy. Hard to believe, but Alan, 5 games left.
1 week.
Phoenix, national TV, Boston, Detroit, home against Cleveland, and then wrapping up a week from tomorrow at Brooklyn. And then the expectation is they play in the first round of the playoffs on the 19th or the 20th. How important is that week off going to be?
It's huge. It's all for rest, preparation. You'll know your opponent. You're getting ready for it. Those are the types of things that make it, important to get that time off. But you're seeing right there in the schedule, 2 lottery teams sandwiched in between. Boston, haven't beaten them yet. Cleveland, haven't beaten them yet. Detroit could be a first-round matchup.
All right.
Those 3 games are going to be intriguing to watch as the Knicks hope to be whole for them.
All right, so let's say the Knicks are whole for them.
Yeah.
Do you read into what we potentially might see in those matchups?
Absolutely not.
No.
No,
Okay.
because you don't want to show all your cards. You might want to try a couple of things out, some matchups, some lines,
But is
whatever
it
it is.
important for their psyche to do better against
That's what I'm thinking.
the Celtics?
I think that for the Knicks, because everybody knows the 0-6 number, that's the narrative. It's hanging over them right now. Can you at least just get that out of the way so that if you do get to a second round and you do see Boston, that you don't have to have that conversation about, hey, you haven't beaten them yet. So there is going to be some importance to that game Tuesday night in the minds of the Knicks. Maybe not for the minds of the Celtics, but there is something for the Knicks to prove to themselves, if anything, especially in front of their own fans. But you got to take care of tomorrow night first. You don't overlook that game. Get to win number 50 on the season.
All right, so tomorrow night, indeed, Knicks are back home. Phoenix in town. Pregame 6:30, game at 7. So a half hour earlier than normal. You can also stream our coverage on MSG Plus now in the Gotham Sports app. Want more than just a post-game show? Link your eligible TV subscription to stream Knicks games free or subscribe today in the Gotham Sports app. Just go to gothamsports.tv to learn more.